to Schmitter Woods. So this is the next day after my buddy and I cut some of these trees down at the food plot. So we have a handful more we want to get down. That we bought the little tractor today, so we'll get a tractor behind these and get them pushed down. So there's these two here, that one, a couple there, and then these two. And we have these bigger ones that we may wait for the 62 since we just have the little tractor today. But we'll get some of these cleared out. Most of these aren't too bad. I wasn't 100% sure, and since it's fairly windy, it'd be just a lot safer to have the tractor on them pushing. So put a big notch and then just get them laid over, and we'll do a little bit. It's a little wet back here, but not terrible. About, like it was yesterday. Didn't get any more rain or anything. And then all the red stumps, we did bring the stump grinder. So it's in the back of the Otter here, so we'll get it out and basically we'll hook it up to the tractor and start hitting some of these. And we have quite a few at the home site to also get where the septic field will be, so we don't want to disturb that soil to dig them out. So we'll just mulch them all down too. So it's pretty low impact as far as, with the kind of how muddy it is. So we'll do that as well. Alright, so we start here and just start working on cutting these down and kind of getting them into the open. So just putting a notch on one side, and then I put a little bit of pressure on it as he cuts the back side, and just let these fall into the open area that we'd already cleared out before. Looked like it was going to start falling. I had just a little bit left, so go ahead and do that, and then we start lemon. And we have these other ones here that go ahead and do the same thing on. So get all these down, and we talked about doing this later. Dad and I had brought the stump grinder, as you saw, and basically just wanted to get everything done kind of all at one go instead of having like these 9 stumps to come back and do. So we went ahead and cut these down. Now, just so that as we're grinding these stumps back here, we can just kind of do them all in one shot instead of having to do it multiple goes. Plus it was pretty wet, or at least soft in several areas, so it was a good time that using the little tractor and kind of being in one area. With that stump grinder, you're not making a lot of mess tracking back and forth. So it was a good project that we could work on kind of with this type of weather. So we just get everything on the ground here and kind of get everything pushed into a small pile. Basically go through and make everything about 12 to 13 feet long. That's kind of a pretty good size that will go on the log trailer. We can get several of these skinny things put on there and stack it up pretty high. Now we have those boards on. You don't have to worry about stuff rolling off and getting into the tires. So go ahead and get everything set up here, and usually look at getting some of those other trees so we have those few that are a little bit closer there to the Otter and closer to our path, so just working on getting these cut as well. And it's amazing how getting these out of there really makes this seem a lot more open. I mean, understand that it is more open, but it's just one of those kind of illusions almost that you wouldn't think that having just that little bit more gone makes a really big difference at how open this is and how open it feels overall. you can see with a lot of these trees, they're not very big, so it's not taking a lot to get them to go the direction we want. So just that little bit of push with the tractor goes a long way to kind of ensure you get them to go kind of in a direction that's safe and you know, not getting the chainsaw bind up or anything like that. A couple of those right there I thought for sure had vines that were going to be stuck in that maple tree, but ended up not being connected. It's one of those things you just never know, definitely with those vines, how intertwined they're going to be. So now we got everything cut down that we're going to get today. Go ahead and get the stump grinder on. So we found, since our linkage is pretty loose on the small tractor just because it's so worn, we find that if we take like a ratchet strap and bind everything to one side, the side that, you know, that grinder is going to kind of be pulling everything to, it makes it work a lot better because you don't have it sitting there shaking back and forth. So you can see it wants to shake, but having that bound to one side really kind of helps. And then you can make a lot more progress, and it's not sitting there shaking the entire tractor the entire time you're trying to mow through some of those stumps. A lot of these stumps are obviously fresh, and then that poplar, so they mow through this pretty easily. And again, you can get them down a lot more on the ground because you can kind of eat some of that dirt away. We don't have any rocks or anything back here, so you don't have to worry about that. So we got those trees dropped. I'm getting hooked up to the log trailer now. And he's got the stump grinder on, the little tractor, working on that. So it's going to take him a little while to get through all those. None of them are that big. It still just takes a little while mowing through, making sure you have everything well below grade. So like whenever they do that hero, or we take the York rake back and kind of get some of that cleaned up, we're not always hooking stumps that are right there. So he's working on that. I got the bolt-on forks in the back of the Otter. I'm going to take those back to him. We'll put those on the tractor, and then I can start running logs back out here to the log yard and start getting them out. With the few that we dropped today, plus what we did the other day, we have quite a few to get out. So I'll start running and doing that, which he can load me up, and then get back to grinding while I drive those out, get them unloaded, and then repeat process. So most of the rest of the day will probably just be time lapse. I've done lots of video already of, you know, doing pulling the logs out, so check out those videos if you want to see more of that. But it becomes fairly repetitive, and throughout the day, plus I have done other videos, so I won't bore people with that, doing too much in-depth video, but I will just have a time lapse or a time warp going of moving those. So that'll probably be what to expect for most of the rest, and I do have a camera going back there while he gets stumps done. I know several people commented. I'll go ahead and comment on the stump grinder we have. So it is backwards, so the drum doesn't spin the correct direction, and there's no gearing or anything that could be wrong there. And I don't know if it's just I don't know what the answer is to that one. So anyway, that's how that one is. It doesn't affect the end use of it. It still grinds stumps. It does spit stuff out instead of kind of catching it. So we'll have to do a modification for like a mud flap or something to, you know, not have it chuck stuff 10 or 20 feet. So it's one of those. It wasn't super expensive, and you know, I guess you kind of get what you pay for, kind of thing. So end use is still usable, so not too upset. And then the one thing I want to show that we did get for the Otter here, so we found that when using this trailer in particular, even with the wheels set where they are, you end up with a lot of teetering back and forth, even with logs on there. So we thought we had enough to where we wanted some weight on the Otter, but not too much to where, you know, we're squishing the suspension or putting too much weight on it. But it's kind of got a little bit of rock back and forth, which was essentially kind of wallowing out the existing hitch that was in there. So we bought this UTV Hitchworks, and it has a beefed up piece here that this goes into, and it bolts to the part of the frame of the Otter here. So you have more load that's going across all that instead of just the hitch. If we do kind of work this out or have issues with this, it's not part of the structure of the machine, so we can take this off. If we need to cut it off and weld a new piece on, we can. So and it does move everything out a little bit, so that's a good bad thing. Nice because you get everything a little bit further away from being right here up against the transmission pieces, but can be bad because you are moving that fulcrum back even more and putting load further away from the axle. So first time, so we put this on a week or so ago. We pulled logs with it yesterday, so that didn't really put it through its tests or its paces, but we'll see with this on there today how it does. Hoping that it takes away some of the movement up and down. Obviously with the pintle you're going to always have a little bit where it you know, jiggles this, but as long as it doesn't move this whole thing too much, then that would be much better. So testing it out today, kind of see how it does, hoping that it kind of solves that problem. And again, if it does have a little bit of wear, it's a piece that is easily fixable instead of, you know, a main structure piece of the machine. So anyway, hooked up, I'll get back out there and get the bolts or the forks bolted on, get this loaded up as much as we can, and I'll start doing trips. So like I said, mostly time lapse, and I'll try to show you. So I'll do a quick thing here of what I got log wise if you didn't watch the previous video. So we've just been stacking stuff up. We have a friend who burns the wood, so we'll probably get with her and figure out a game plan as far as getting you know, some of this cut up, and she'll probably want some of the smaller stuff, so we'll probably get through that instead of the real big pieces. And then like before, I'll just use a chain and I'll just splay stuff out here, and then he can go through with the tractor and get all of that bunched back up. And so we may have to eventually start another pile here, but hopefully here pretty soon we'll start getting through some of this, get the firewood picked out, and then figure out what we want to keep for the sawmill and get some of that back over to the homestead so we can saw some more of that stuff up. So here's a quick look at just him getting through some of those stumps. So you can see it works fairly well. It's not super fast, but it definitely does its job. You can get it well below grade, which is the nice thing that, you know, you have with a stump grinder, is even if you cut things off with the chainsaw at grade, you're always going to have that little bit kind of sticking up. So definitely if you're running a Harrow rake over it or the York rake or something, you're always going to kind of catch that. Whereas this, you can kind of cover back over with dirt, and as long as you're not, you know, tilling down real deep or anything like that, and just kind of, you know, going over the surface, then you know, it works really well. So go ahead and get these cut into 12-foot sticks and then just start loading them on. So kind of start with mainly what we already drug out either yesterday or what we laid down today, and then just getting them on there. And then once we kind of get that cleaned up, just because that stuff's laying kind of in the path, go ahead and start working on some of that other stuff too. It's one of those things we keep adding to this pile and never get a chance to really take too much away. So today we make a better dent on getting everything moved out of there. So after this video kind of talked, I think we may have a little bit better solution on some of that. So definitely with this cable in particular, it's been well used, so it has quite a few kinks in it. So as you use it, you have those kinks, and then it doesn't want to cinch up and stay cinched. So as you pull away, it may move a little bit, it'll come off the log. The other issue is, once you drag stuff off, you now have a cable underneath. So we have one of those small, kind of the two tines that come and grab a log, and then the idea is you're able to pick it up. So we have a small one of those that we may be able to put on the end of the log, and once you kind of get stuff to start moving, definitely like these here, if you can get hooked to one of those bottom ones, you can then kind of get everything to slide off. So we may try something like that in the future, just to make it a little bit easier, since on most of these I had to go up with the otter and then pull the cable out from underneath. But this method works fairly well. You can see here, I was hoping to get everything so sturdy enough that I wouldn't pull that other log out, but it started to pull out. So found another red oak that was a little bit bigger and would hold its place while I pulled things off the trailer. So I always carry around a tape measure in the otter to be able to mark off. I have it marked for 16-inch firewood logs, but use it, get those 12-foot pieces marked off and cut up so that he can just use the forks to put some on. There, just had a lot of wiggle on the hitch. I was just checking out to kind of see how much movement there was and which piece was moving. Been trying to load logs a little bit further forward to have a little bit more down pressure. So there's an instance where all the logs didn't come off, but with the poly on the bottom of our rungs that on the trailer and those nice straight logs, I was able to actually just push them off. And then once they're off enough, I'm able to just drive away and they stay. So we just about have everything cleaned up from what we just dropped today. So with them being pretty tall and straight, we had a fair amount of firewood there that, this isn't even additional stuff that we had before. So finally getting to some of that now and getting it, loaded up and start making a dent in the other pile. And then we have a pile of red oak that we get some of as well. Alright, just doing an update partway through the day, kind of how it's going. So, so far it's been working really well. Without the winch on there, we're able to load everything on the trailer a little bit further forward, which seems to be helping as far as our teeter goes. So, been doing that a little bit different this time. That seems to be helping, but without all these being very big, I'm able to get a lot more on there, obviously, but there's just a ton of logs that we've been able to get out, so I definitely think we'll start another pile. So that's all the trees that we got down today, plus a few that were already stacked over there. So it's kind of the majority of it. So we do have 2 more pieces of red oak that are really big, probably 24, 28 inches, something like that. And then I have some red oak limbs that are decent sized that need to come out, along with some other odds and ends. So right now we've been cutting everything to about 12 feet. That seems to be working fairly well with the trailer right now. So I've gotten kind of maximum use out of where I can hook to this red oak and pull this around. So I'm probably gonna have to change my my tie point. May pick this red oak here and try to get a couple more over that direction and fill this up as much as possible. So he's continuing to grind stumps. He's gotten the majority of them done. I'd say 90% of them are poplar and just super soft, and obviously just cut down within the last couple days. So they still have moisture in them, so they haven't gotten real hard from drying out. So they're mulching away pretty easily. So he's gotten most of those done. So one thing with the bolt-on forks that we currently have is they're not very even, so we need to get a new set made up. But basically, you know, one kind of sticks down a little bit further than the other, so as you go to scoop, you end up with a lot of dirt on one side. So, you know, it's a common issue with any forks, to where, you know, if one gets a little bent, then it makes it a challenge. So, and then not being on even ground also doesn't help, but they still do the job. It helps a little bit if you can just put them even and I can roll them on. Not scooping up quite as much dirt with them, but still does an excellent job. And we did buy a log grapple. It's one of those ones that kind of goes around and then you can put a chain on it to pick it up. So for some of these smaller ones, the forks are still going to work the best. But some of these bigger logs, it'll be interesting to see how well, in particular, the little tractor does with it. You know, we have the grapple for the 62, but we don't have a good grapple of any sort for the little tractor. So this log grapple will open up 36 inches and then comes around the log where you put it in the center of the log and then have a chain that picks it up. So we just got that. Right after this video, so it'll be interesting to try that. So here, kind of close quarters, so he's getting some of these logs moved out so that whenever we load them up, it'll be a little bit easier. And here you can see we've switched to some of this red oak, so it's not one to just pull off, it's actually moving the logs. So I throw some off of what I can, and then the few poplar pieces on the bottom I can just drive away from. And then again, it leaves the chain or the cable cinched up, so I have to do some cutting sometimes to get that free to then get it pulled out. So here we have one of the bigger red oak pieces that may become solid, you know, put on the sawmill. It has some knots and things on it there that we're cutting off, and then we cut off a couple rounds at the end, just because it was too much weight on the back. And it was picking up the otter, so cut a couple rounds off that end to you know, move that weight distribution forward and not have as much you know, up pressure on everything. So again, one of those instances, whenever I turn around and pull up like that, we just have a D-hook on the front that I hook the cable to and can get it pulled out from under the logs. So here he had one ready for me, so I was able to get turned around, back the trailer up back there, get it lined up, and you can use a piece of pipe that we have. It's just a small piece of 12-inch pipe that you can put under a log that will keep it propped up while you like back the trailer under it, and then with the tractor you can just push it the rest of the way on. So while I get this one unloaded, he gets the next one prepped to get it put on. And this one able to get pulled on. So here we have quite a bit of back pressure, and basically want to kind of leave it whole though, because it would be a good sawmill log. Here looking up and figure it's about 3,000 pounds, so definitely putting work on the trailer and the auger. It didn't have any issue pulling that out. So here's kind of a look. This is cutting those original pieces off that first log that I pulled out. Just kind of a different angle of that, and getting that cut off. So took a little bit of work to get those, and then had to roll it around to get another one stuck up so that whenever we pushed it on, it wouldn't get stuck on the trailer. And then just cutting off, yeah, those couple back pieces too. You can see really here the weight distribute back onto the auger as you cut those off. Then again, backing the trailer on, and then yeah, so there you can see I put that piece of pipe under, and then just backed up, and then he's able to push that on. And then him prepping this last log, again, same kind of thing. So you can get it picked up, take that piece of pipe, put it under, and then have it ready so that I can just back the trailer right up to it. And then in cases where you know, depending on the circumstance, you could use the winch if you didn't have room behind, but we knew that we were going to be pretty open, so, or in an open area, so go ahead and didn't load the winch up this time, and then just had him push that log up onto the metal so that we could get a little bit more weight just up on the front. So this is the last log for the day. Big piece of red oak, 26 by 13 foot long. Have this area all cleaned up now. Most of it, or we got some of it picked up and moved out. Most of it we moved up here, just so it's easier to get to. With kind of how close everything is there, it was hard to maneuver. So we got it moved up here so that we could easily load this out. But I will show what we got done over here with the food plot area. So we took the rest of those couple of trees down. That one will eventually go just because the base is rotting on it. But he did go through and got all the stumps. So there's just a little bit of a divot, but basically you can just go through with the York rake or the grader, kind of he's doing now, and just filling them in. He's doing that right now just so they don't hold water, because we are supposed to get half an inch of rain tomorrow. But just looking at this area now, I opened it up quite a bit, and should make a nice spot. Like I said, that tree will eventually go and we'll get it, the stumps out of it. This one may go, it's got some dead limbs on it, but it's not hurting anything. But basically, it's gonna kind of follow the tree row over there, and then connect back around over in here. So it'll be kind of at an angle like this, and then everything that way, kind of our trail in. So opened up a pretty big spot, pretty nice. We'll probably take the, after now we've gotten all the stumps out, probably take the York rake and or the bush hog and kind of bush hog some of this underbrush stuff, and then kind of get it all flattened out with the York rake, and then they can start working on getting some stuff in here, clover, whatever they want to plant. So little bit of work and got this finished up today. I know my buddy wanted to come out here and help, and it just didn't work, and we were going to do it in a couple weeks, but just worked out to where we could get this done today. And we're mainly trying to get the stumps done anyway, just because that was the main thing, and we wanted to cut those few trees down that were left, just so we could do all the stumps at one time. So anyway, so we're going to finish this up. I'll get those logs out, and then he's going to straighten up at the front. So I'll go ahead and sign off now. Thanks for watching the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. So with the trailer and the log, we estimate we've got just shy of 4,000 pounds probably on the back here. So wouldn't want to go a long distance with this. I know supposedly the trailering capability is only like 1,300 or 1,700 pounds on the Otter. I'm not 100% sure how they figure that, but with the short stint we went and the trailer and everything, had no issue pulling this out. Just put it in low and went slow. Initially going to have him pull it off the other way that I had done the others, but go ahead and just have him use the tractor to get that pulled off, and then unhook the trailer while he gets that log pushed over, just so it's not in the way. Take our bolt-on forks off, so just use a wrench and an impact to get those off, and then for the ride home, this fits perfectly in the back of the Otter. Thank you for watching the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.